of Naruto as a Tailed Beast Part 11, let's go. Now Team 7 triumphantly went back to Konoha, having saved the nephew of the Kazekage and strengthened Konoha bond with the Kazekage and the Sand Village completely, even further. Naruto especially was held afterwards by the Hokage as he was hailed by Minato, but also Minato just wanted to talk. They hadn't talked in a little bit, and Minato was kind of like Naruto's human father, so he just wanted to talk, like a normal father would. However, Naruto did actually tell Minato, the only one, that Naruto was not in control through the whole thing, especially during the fight. He was not in control of his emotions, and he became insane. Minato was worried at first, but after discussing it further with Naruto, he got to a little bit of a sense of understanding and that they would somehow fix the situation, as it wasn't too bad. Naruto doesn't just go rogue and attack random people. It's just when he sees someone dying in front of him that he cares about, well, then it's kind of a problem. Now, a little bit of a problem when comparing to canon is that Team 7 never got the information out of Sasori that Orochimaru had connection with Sasori, and that was, well, because Orochimaru was still locked up in Konoha and hadn't been seen by any rogue shinobi in multiple years. It had now been over 2 years since anyone outside of Konoha had seen Orochimaru or even heard of him, except for the fact that, well, he was stuck in prison. Naruto, however, did actually go to Orochimaru after his talk with Minato, as he thought that he could get quite a few bits and pieces of information from Orochimaru, as he knew that Orochimaru had a connection with the Akatsuki. Even if it wasn't that strong, he still knew some things that Konoha definitely. Now, Orochimaru wasn't the canon Orochimaru anymore. He had kind of broke in his months, which turned into 2 years of prison. Konoha tried to get a lot of information out of him, but Orochimaru was a strong shinobi after all, so it was still hard, even with that much time. Naruto here wasn't a threat to Orochimaru, he really just wanted to talk, though still kept his guard up and was looking for anything that Orochimaru did, even though he was handcuffed with many chakra seals and more, as well as bars that had chakra seals on them, which made them impenetrable with any jutsu, and the whole building had chakra seals on it, so it was truly not a way to get out with chakra, and they knew that Orochimaru did not have the strength, the pure human strength, to get out there, and probably no one did, except for maybe my guy or someone like that, but, well, yeah. Naruto started by asking general questions like what the Akatsuki might be plotting, and Orochimaru did give a little bit of a vague answer, saying that they'll fulfill everyone's dream, but Naruto wasn't satisfied, so he asked further. However, Orochimaru was playing games and didn't really reveal all that much, though instead of having a smirk or a grin like he usually would, he had a sad expression, as he was even a little bit scared of what the Akatsuki might do. These 2 years have made you soft, haven't they? Orochimaru, the snake Sanin, Naruto said. What did you say, boy? Orochimaru would try to do something, but even if he could somehow get out of this prison, he knew that Naruto would catch him like a Pokemon once more, so there was no hiding and no playing games. Naruto was just out of this world. Now, Orochimaru even asked Naruto some questions about him, as they hadn't really talked in quite a while. Now, Naruto did talk to Orochimaru since the 2 years, but really not that often. Orochimaru's forces were initially completely broken and disbanded, as Kabuto and Orochimaru and some more of their main fighters, as well as the Sound Four, had all been completely eradicated, which basically formed the whole Orochimaru force, with everyone else being either puppets or punching bags or sacrifices in battle. However, without Orochimaru's knowledge, his forces had actually been regaining strength and reformed with new leadership, who hailed Orochimaru and wanted to free him once more, as his companions had many months ago. However, they became almost like a cult, basically worshipping Orochimaru and kneeling to his feet. But you could not completely neglect their strength. They weren't too bad. Combined, they could definitely take on some Chunin to Jonin fighters, which wasn't all that crazy, but it was something. And they were still growing in strength rapidly, as they hadn't formed that long ago. Meanwhile, the Akatsuki seemed to be gearing up for something, a battle of sorts, but stretched out through multiple weeks and even months. Naruto is finished with Orochimaru, as there's nothing that they seem to get out of their conversation, until Orochimaru gave one little piece of advice before Naruto could leave. Watch your back. Don't look for trustworthiness in comrades. Fight alone. And be careful of the Akatsuki. They might try to get you. Or they might try to get you to join their organization. But whatever you do, stay safe, young one. Orochimaru was actually showing some kind of kindness in telling Naruto this. However, still, there were the classic Orochimaru traits, as Orochimaru didn't really trust anyone else except for himself, and he basically said for Naruto to do the same, as strong ones have to fight on their own, whilst the weak people have to look for team members and fight with teamwork or comrades to make up for the strength difference. So Naruto would now go on to try to somewhat put an end to the battle with the Akatsuki, leading to victory. He knew this wouldn't be easy, so he geared up a little bit, preparing for a true battle, and headed out. Where he was going, he told no one. He didn't even tell anyone that he was leaving, since he was definitely coming back. In victory. He had heard of Hidan and Kakuzu of the Akatsuki, two nigh immortal beings who had been hunting Jinchuriki and their tailed beast for a few weeks now. And Naruto was getting angry. How dare they hurt my family? Naruto went out, but the clothes he was wearing were Anbu clothes. Reason? We go into a flashback. Naruto, I think you should become an Anbu, Minato said. An Anbu? I guess it would make sense with my speed and chakra. But are you sure about this? Naruto, I believe you have the perfect set of skills, Minato said, who was sitting across from Naruto, with Hiruzen nodding on the side. Alright then, I guess I'll try it. So sure, sign me up for the Anbu. And with that, Naruto was initiated. This was about midway through the 2-year time skip. Naruto very quickly rose in the ranks of the Anbu and gained recognition by not just the Anbu, but everybody who had ever met the tailed flash of Konoha. The only thing that people saw of him before their deaths were tails, almost like those of an animal, or even worse, a tailed beast. After just 1 month of doing missions inside the Anbu, after only joining 1 month prior, Naruto had become so recognized that he got his own Anbu team and became the captain. However, he did not stop there, and continued to amaze everyone with a 100% success rate on all of his missions, even going above and beyond, doing everything even imaginable, and doing them faster than anyone else could. So he became known as the strongest of all Anbu, most not even knowing of his very young age, as he masked his whole body, so he was unrecognizable, except for the tails that just seemed to appear out of nowhere whenever he appeared in a battle. They appeared, he killed people, and then they disappeared. He was truly a monster, a tailed beast. Back to present. Now Naruto was heading out to kill Hidan and Kakuzu. Well, he knew that Kakuzu could be killed, though he did not know of any way to kill Hidan, the truly immortal human, who had been blessed by the god Yashin himself. However, Kakuzu would be easy to fight. He just had multiple hearts that weren't even remotely human, but if you killed all of them, well, you can imagine what would happen to him. With that in mind, Naruto went in to battle as he saw those two around a campfire. It was already beginning to become darker. The sun had set about half an hour ago, and night was approaching soon. The two rogue shinobi were not thinking of battle or anything remotely similar, yet in a mere flash, Naruto appeared, a monster of Konoha. With 11 tails flashing in front of the two shinobi, Naruto, with a grin and two kunais in his hands, one in each. His hair grew long, because, by the way, Naruto did not have his Anbu mask, he just had the normal Anbu outfit, not the mask. "I've come here to collect you," Naruto said, and went in for battle without even waiting for a response. At his incredible entrance, Kakuzu was expecting Naruto to dash forward, so he was already somewhat prepared, though was not prepared for Naruto's insane speed. They had heard of Naruto. Well, not Naruto per se, but they'd heard of the tailed shinobi of Konoha, as once again, no one knew it was Naruto except for the Hokage, and a very few select others. So Kakuzu actually took quite some damage, as his shoulder was open and bleeding. Now Hidan rushed in and tried to hit Naruto with a scythe, then jumping back once more and trying to use his jutsu, which he was perfect for with his immortal body. But Naruto would not let him get any second of rest, so Naruto dashed forwards like in the beginning and punched Hidan in the stomach so hard he went flying 10 meters up, 30 feet if you're American, and 10 meters backwards, 30 feet if you're American. Hidan was going to be out of commission for a few seconds. In the meantime, Kakuzu regained his composure and now started fighting Naruto once more. Naruto now actually used his shuriken and kunai, which he had been holding in his hands. By the way, he was fighting with kunai in his hands, not even using them. Basically just with the back of his palm. Kind of insane if you ask me. So then Naruto actually used the weapons that he had ready, as he slit open a whole bunch of scars, or rather future scars, and made many scratches on Kakuzu's body, making him out of breath very quickly. His body was stinging even though they had only been fighting for less than a minute now. Now Hidan was back in the game, as now Hidan and Kakuzu were both fighting Naruto at the same time, but then once more Hidan tried to activate his jutsu. Naruto would not let that happen, as he threw his kunai right at Hidan, though he blocked it with his spinning scythe. But Naruto appeared right behind Hidan, stabbing him through the back, though Naruto, of course, knew that Hidan would recover. He is immortal after all. Now going back to Kakuzu, who he now wanted to completely eliminate, hitting him, smashing him in the ground with his 11 tails, which were all beating down on a single man. It made a big dent in the ground, almost as if a crater appeared from a meteor. But then there was Kakuzu laying inside it, unconscious and beaten to a bloody pulp. And now Naruto, with the kunai inside his hands. Naruto was slowly walking over to Kakuzu and was about to finish off all of his hearts, and he had already gotten 2 during their fight. However, Hidan got back and tried to hit Naruto from behind, similar to how Naruto did, but it simply didn't work. Naruto blocked Hidan's scythe with just his forearm, as he didn't need any special jutsu or taijutsu. Simple punches were enough to defeat Hidan. Really, his whole power was just immortality, and if he could just take care of him, it was basically like fighting a child with infinite energy. Really not that hard. So now, Naruto made a few clones, including even Tailed Beast style and Shadow clones, both which he had learned and mastered over the years, who were currently fighting Hidan, as it was basically an endless battle. Hidan could never win, but he could also never lose. And then Naruto finished off Kakuzu with no issue. Naruto decided that he had to bring Hidan back to the village, as there was no feasible way to eliminate him otherwise. Naruto did, and he brought Hidan back as a prisoner of war with the Akatsuki. And with that, no casualties had happened. The only one happening was, of course, Kakuzu, though Naruto actually brought his dead body to Konoha as well, as a surprise gift. He went to Minato's office, as there was currently Mitsumori, who had taken on a Genin team, reporting their mission to Minato. Mitsumori was definitely a prodigy and became a Jonin teacher at a very, very young age, actually becoming one of the first of the Konoha 12 or 15 to become a Jonin, and then a sensei afterwards too. The youngest sensei, the youngest Jonin sensei to have ever existed in all of Konoha. Kind of an achievement if you ask me. Anyways, so Naruto arrived there, but then noticing the three young Genin, he decided not to show a dead body and a war prisoner, so he came back a little bit later, and gave Minato basically a show of hand to show what was going on. Vaguely. Of course not the exact details, but basically saying, I'm gonna come back later to tell you. With that, I'm gonna leave off the video. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, and see you in the next one. Peace.